My name is Kay Waller, and this presentation recaps my results and recommendations based on a research study about healthy eating habits conducted at Local Point Dining Hall on the University of Washington campus. I began this quarter with a design question that aimed to find ways to encourage students to make healthy eating choices at Local Point Dining Hall on the University of Washington campus. I chose this question because undergraduate students are disproportionately susceptible to the formation of unhealthy eating habits and weight gain. Thus, my research goal was to illuminate design opportunities that can aid in developing students' healthy eating habits for life and decrease this weight gain. In order to understand my study and results, some context is needed for Local Point Dining Hall. Local Point vendors include Taro, a vendor with health and superfood bowls, a make-your-own salad bar, a make-your-own sandwich bar, Big Kitchen, which serves pasta and comfort food, Dub Street, which serves American food and burgers, World Kitchen, which serves global foods, and Pagliacci Pizza. For my study, I classified taro and the salad bar as healthy food choices based on the World Health Organization's definition of healthy. I began my research by conducting field study observations. I observed that ineffective menu screen communication was the largest observed barrier to encouraging healthy eating choices due to screen imbalances and irrelevant content. This, combined with frequent screen usage, refined my interview design question to focus on menu screen communication. Although I noted a similar result in my interviews, that the menu screens and samples were used in tandem to decide what to eat, I chose to focus on the importance of familiarity result. One of the participants jokingly said, "A kale bowl clashed with his culture," and other participants seemed to have a similar sentiment when asked about the healthier options at Local Point. This result hinted at the underlying reasons students seemed to avoid taro in the salad bar, moving away from surface-level recommendations from previous results. The results showed that familiarity is key. Learning how to bridge the gap between the ultimate health food and accessible healthy meals has the potential to encourage many students to make healthier eating choices. Thus, my design question for survey research was, in Local Point Dining Hall on the University of Washington campus, how can we increase a sense of comfort and familiarity in the food served at taro and the salad bar in order to encourage students to make healthy eating choices? My survey asked questions that confirm the importance of familiarity, explore what makes a food familiar, and elaborates on what healthy food students are comfortable with. The high-level research questions this survey intended to address were: does taro and the salad bar serve food that is comfortable and familiar? What healthy foods are students comfortable with? And what factors determine the comfort level of a food? My survey had 17 participants aged 18 through 25 who frequented Local Point 7 or more times per week. Age 18 through 25 was chosen because these students are most susceptible to the formation of unhealthy eating habits. 7 times per week indicates definite familiarity of Local Point and an establishment of patterns, so included participants had to go 7 or more times. The survey was implemented on Google Forms because of ease of software and high recognition levels among participants. A weakness of this survey is the small sample size because it restricts my ability to generalize my data. A strength is the clear questions that avoid vague words like comfort and familiar foods. Through quantitative data analysis, I found 3 salient results from my survey. The first result is packing in the protein. This result discusses the importance of meat among survey participants. The first graph addresses the survey's short answer question, asking for opinions of taro. The data was taken from the respondents that answered, "I never visit," or "I rarely visit," when asked about taro on another question. I only took these respondents' questions because I wanted to understand the fundamental reason why a student would never or rarely go to taro in order to provide a recommendation that would encourage students to make healthy eating choices at Local Point who otherwise possibly would not. From this data, 4 respondents unfavorably mentioned the extra price for protein. I was interested in this result because the chances of 40% of respondents naturally saying the same thing in a short answer response seemed slim. However, when I cross-checked this finding against a question that asked for students' preferred ingredients for their perfect healthy meal, I asked them to pick 3, I saw that over 100% of respondents chose protein, including meat and plant-based proteins. This means that not only did everyone emphasize the inclusion of protein, for some respondents, it consisted of 2 out of their 3 responses to the question. The importance of protein seemed to appear in different forms across questions and seemed to be the most salient ingredient that students desire in their meals. Based on this finding, I recommend that taro eliminates protein as an add-on and makes protein standard in all of their bowls. If price is a concern, raise the price of the bowl slightly to include the protein, but don't include it as an add-on because it de-emphasizes the importance of protein and sends the wrong message to students who value protein. To go beyond this, taro should have multiple types of protein available, multiple choices for both vegan and meat categories. These changes will place the single ingredient that students want most front and center, some sort of protein, hopefully drawing more students into taro that will simultaneously be receiving the benefits from taro's other healthy ingredients. My second finding is called creature of habit. This result is carried through from my interview results because my survey validated that students value familiarity when choosing what food to eat. The importance of familiarity received a rating of 3.82 out of 5 in another question, indicating that on average students agree that familiarity is important to them. I was then curious as to if the salad bar and taro were vendors that were considered familiar. It was hinted at in my interview results, but I was looking to validate them and extend them to a broader population. If a respondent answered a 5 for the importance of familiarity, whatever vendors they answered 5 to, I visit frequently, indicated a strong familiarity. When a respondent answered a 3 for the importance of familiarity, whatever vendors they marked as 3, I visit sometimes, received weak familiarities. All the other possible combinations of 3s, 4s, and 5s received moderate familiarity ratings. My results reveal that taro, the salad bar, and the sandwich bar have the 3 lowest familiarity ratings. This validated my interview findings. Additionally, I found it interesting that World Kitchen had such a high familiarity rating, but that is explained by cultural food being marked as the highest motivator among respondents for choosing a specific food. Based on this data, taro and the salad bar need to serve more familiar food in order to encourage students to eat there. Another one of my questions answered, what food is familiar? And I am drawing upon that data for my recommendation. Taro frequently serves kale, green beans, spinach, and quinoa in their bowls. However, they all had low marks when asked if students ate that food. On the other hand, lettuce and rice had much higher marks. Thus, my recommendation is to temper the taro superfoods with more accessible ingredients. Based on this data, I would recommend to taro that they include more ingredients students are familiar with, like lettuce and rice. My third and final result is new kids on the block. This is referring to students' desires for vegetables, proteins, and fruits for healthy and enjoyable meals. The first graph is the result of a question that asks students to pick what a healthy entree means to them. Notice the 3 highest bars are vegetables, fruits, and proteins. The second graph shows the data of a build your own healthy entree question, the same question graph referred to in the first result. The 3 highest percentages are again vegetables, fruits, and proteins. This data reveals that there is a connection between what students perceive as healthy and what they want to eat in a healthy entree. This means that in order to draw students to eat at healthy vendors, the vendor must serve food that matches their definition of healthy. For the majority of respondents in my survey, that means fruits, vegetables, and proteins. Based on this data, I first recommend that fruit be served as a side for every meal, included in the price of an entree. Secondly, I recommend that taro and the salad bar change their focuses. The salad bar serves mainly vegetables and 1 meat option. I recommend placing more emphasis on protein options, possibly having 2 to 3 different options for protein. Additionally, taro places a large emphasis on grains like quinoa and couscous and uses them as a base for their bowls. Based on the discussed data, students don't seem to prioritize grains for their healthy meals. Thus, taro should refocus their menu to emphasize meats, with a side of grains as an add-on. These changes will match the food taro and the salad bar serves with the students' definitions of both enjoyable and healthy, therefore encouraging them to eat there. Packing in the protein is the highest priority result as it occurred most frequently across multiple survey questions and is easy to implement. Creature of habit is second priority as it has potential to encourage large number of students to eat at taro and the salad bar. However, vegetables that are comfortable and familiar is a bit vague and needs more research into what that entails, beyond just lettuce. Although adding fruit as an included side is easy and effective, New Kids on the Block is the lowest priority result because it involves a complete makeover of the taro and salad bar menu. Moving forward from the results into discussion, I will address next steps and reflections. My survey data revealed what foods and vendors students are not comfortable eating at. However, I would like to know the why. Why are students not comfortable with some foods? It was hinted at in my interviews with the kale clashes with my culture comment, but I would like to dive deeper into why students shy away from ingredients like kale, green beans, spinach, and quinoa, because it provides an interesting area of research concerning students and their relationship to and perceptions of health foods. If I were to continue this research, my next step would be conducting another round of semi-structured interviews to address this why. Additionally, to add specificity to my creature of habit recommendation, I would like to explore what vegetables are deemed comfortable by students. Reflecting on this process, I believe next time I conduct surveys, I will have less strict participant inclusion criteria. It was difficult to recruit participants, and I believe the criteria was too strict. Students do not need to go to local points 7 times per week to develop patterns, and in hindsight, I believe they could have been developed in 4 to 5 visits per week. Additionally, my recommendations would have the potential to appeal to a larger base. A limitation to my research is my small sample size, and in future surveys, I would like to have more respondents so I can generalize my data more. When rolling out my survey, it was surprising to me how many students did not read my participant inclusion criteria. I had to discard 8 responses because they did not go to local points 7 or more times per week. Building off that, the hardest part was recruiting participants. The most enjoyable part was quantitative data analysis because I enjoy numbers and charts. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for your time.